the entrepreneurs that start these things, they usually fail 20, 30 times. They're willing to do it. Spirit of the Maverick. Cinequest was formed and founded in this spirit of innovation, a group of entrepreneurs and technologists, as well as film artists, because we feel that that Maverick spirit represents the best of the Silicon Valley and the world of motion pictures and film.
Wonderful award here.
This reminds me a little of Captain Marvel. Shazam.
Oh, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Shazam. And it's the Maverick Spirit Award.
Yeah.
So, Cinequest, we consider you to be a Maverick.
Well, I mean, if by Maverick you mean someone who encourages the independent spirit in others and also in myself, then I would say yes. I have always tried to encourage my co-stars to be independently minded. One of my heroes is Prince.
Oh.
And Prince was always funky, and he dressed however he wanted, and I sometimes think, well, what would Prince do, you know? And so that's always been, he's been my Maverick.
Yeah, and in your career, you seem to do what people won't expect you to do.
Well, I see myself as a student of film performance. I'm always trying to learn something. And so I have to keep it eclectic, and I have to challenge myself. I have to take risks. This way I stay interested. Sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does work, but I know that if I can stay surprised and excited, then hopefully the audience will also have that same feeling. Every art aspires to be music. I like to hear the melodies and the dialogue. And I hear it in my head, and I like words. A little bit like Jagger, he likes to, bleeding volcano, likes to extend the word, and I do that with the dialogue. I like to play with words, and I hear the music in the dialogue. I have to read the script. I did a picture called Honeymoon in Vegas, and I knew right away, thank you, with that movie, with the great Sarah Jessica Parker, no less, Andrew Bergman was directing, and I could tell right away when I read the script, I could hear the words, how I wanted to play with them, but Andrew had this great way of writing where he would italicize things, and I knew, like, in the airport scene when I have the meltdown, that was all italicized, and I could hear it in my head, and that happens time and time again. When I read the script to Raising Arizona, I knew right away, I had it in my body. I felt it inside, that I wasn't even entirely sure why, but that I could play H.I. It just sang to me somehow. The dialogue sang to me.
And if the script doesn't sing to you...
The worst thing an actor can do, in my opinion, is to bore the audience.
Has he ever bored any of you?
Well, I don't care if you fall on your face. Just don't bore them. It's got to be entertaining on some level. That's how I feel about it.
Well, I think you've been entertaining, but when you get a script, the characters you played, well, they're kind of out there sometimes. How much of that is on the page? How much do you get to influence that?
It depends. It changes with each genre and with each character. For example, I recently did a movie called Mom and Dad.
Yes.
About some sort of virus or something, and parents decide to be homicidal toward their children. It's never really explained. Isn't it weird that we're laughing about that? But that's why I made the movie. It was so taboo. I said, this is irreverent, this is taboo, I gotta do this. Because it's funny, I know it's funny somewhere. But anyway, I was doing the scene where I had to smash the pool table with a sledgehammer, and I had to have genuine anger, and so I was thinking, well, what can I do? What can I add to this so that I can really not have to act and really be frustrated and just beat the crap out of that pool table? And I said, what would work for the movie? And then I went back in time, back through my memory bank. I look at my memories, my dreams, what have you, to get the character to be organic. And lo and behold, I went all the way back to kindergarten. And they were making me, the teachers of the Bureau of Education had designed the Hokey Pokey song to sing, where you put your right foot in, you take your right foot out, and You do the hokey pokey, and you turn yourself around, and I knew that they had designed that song to separate the discoordinated children from the coordinated children. And I wasn't discoordinated, but I had discoordinated friends, and I took great umbrage with that, and I got really pissed off. So I put that in the scene. It wasn't in the script, but it worked. And
there went that pool table.
Demolished the pool table. Then if you look at a picture like Joe, which is a much more cinema verite, dramatic style, I was in this scene where I had to go into a bar brawl because this bully was picking on my best friend, and I couldn't get there. I couldn't get the anger. And this is sad. There was a story in the paper about a little toddler, 2 or 3. He fell into a pit of wild African dogs in a zoo, and no one got him out, and he was mauled to death. And even thinking about now, I get very emotional, and I got so angry about that I put it in the dialogue. I started drinking and bad tripping about that and talking about the child, and that got the energy there where I could do the bar brawl in a way that, organically I felt I meant it. So.
Now that's such an internal process of the way you get in touch with those characters in those scenes. You've done some external things too. Birdie, one of your early films, get into that. You lost some weight and you had 2 of your front teeth pulled.
I was trying to design a kind of, if you will, a mythology around myself. De Niro was gaining the weight for Raging Bull, and so I wanted to be that badass method actor, and I pulled 2 teeth that were apart, but the reality is I had a problem with baby teeth way into my adulthood, and I had to pull the 2 baby teeth so the adult teeth could grow in. So that's the reality. It was actually a healthy choice.
See? So there we are. We were talking earlier about a movie you saw, Citizen Kane, and you saw that with your dad, August Coppola.
Yeah.
Up here in the Bay Area, he was pretty well known. He was at San Francisco State.
Thank you.
How much of a creative influence was he on your life? And on your brothers? I mean,
how high is infinity? I mean, he was enormously influential in all my brothers' lives and my life, and to grow up with a professor is quite something, especially a professor of literature. He pointed me in all the right directions to read the right books. He had me doing the missing chapter. He said, I want you to be a foreign correspondent, Nicholas. I want you to read Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse and Aldous Huxley, and I want you to go into the book and write the missing chapter. So I would have to do that. I would say, well, this is your foreign correspondent. I'm in Siddhartha, and I just met Siddhartha, and I would write these stories. And that did so much for my ability to stimulate my imagination. You mentioned Citizen Kane. You're a newspaper man. That was the movie that made me want to be a newspaper man. We were talking backstage. That was my first thing I studied in high school was journalism, and I loved it. I absolutely did. But he took me to see that movie with my brothers when I think I was 8 or 9. And even then, I knew the genius of Wells, the greatness of the performance, the heartbreaking aspect of the performance, and the movie has never been paralleled or challenged in any way. Even now, it's so fresh. I saw it a week ago, watched it at night, had to watch it again in the morning. It's just the best movie ever made.
It was so ahead of its time. Who else have been your influence?
You see, there's so many different ones. People often ask me, like, what are your 5 favorite movies? I just, guys, I can't do it in 5.
It's like all of them.
I cannot. I mean, there's different movies for different lifetimes. I mean, I've lived several lifetimes already in this existence of mine. When I was a child, my favorite movie was War of the Gargantuas by Inashiro Honda. My first job was in a movie theater. And I would sneak into the theater and watch movies, and I would try to figure out, how do I get from here to there? And I would just meditate on that. Bruce Lee, I was 13 when my brother and I went to see that, and I said, superheroes really do exist. This guy's actually doing this. This is real. Did you see that? And he changed my life. Marlon Brando, James Dean is the reason I wanted to become an actor. When I saw him in East of Eden, he had the nervous breakdown with his father for his birthday. Nothing moved me the way that did. Nothing. No song, no painting, nothing. When I saw him cry like that, and I'm 15, I was breaking down with him in the theater. I knew then the power of film performance to make you feel that. It changed me, and I said, that's what I want to do. I want to be him. I want to do that. I knew that.